Well, I think it's clear that over the years, policy has had a very large impact on the whole sustainability agenda in many ways. Policies are setting standards for society, they set targets, they frame markets, they drive innovation. They also are about social distribution, which in the whole agenda of sustainability is important. And it's actually policy setting in Europe over the last 3-4 decades that has really been the driving force of the whole environment and climate agenda. So while I think it's impossible to move to a society that we call then sustainable in the future in a fundamental way, without deep engagement of civil society and also of the economic actors, I think it's equally inconceivable to do it without a strong government. Yeah? That doesn't mean that government needs to micromanage everybody else or create an overburden of rules and regulations, but in terms of framing the issues, setting societal standards, defending the sort of collective interest and facilitating breakthroughs towards sustainability, there is no doubt that policies are absolutely crucial. I think the essence of the sustainability agenda is to move from fundamentally unsustainable systems of production and consumption to fundamentally sustainable systems of production and consumption, which means that we organize our key systems within the boundaries of this one planet that we have. And by definition, if you speak about production and consumption, you talk about production chains, value chains, and that's where businesses operate. So it's quite clear that business plays a big role in this. They produce, they bring products to the consumer, they decide what sort of ethical and financial standards they apply along the value chain. So if indeed, and that's, I strongly believe that sustainability is about fundamentally shifting our system of production and consumption towards sustainability, then businesses play a crucial role. What progress have we made on the policy side and on the business side? I think it's quite clear that 4 decades of investing in policies and also in innovation and technology has really moved things forward when it comes to air quality, water quality, protecting nature, biodiversity. We have a much stronger system of governance. Businesses have been reporting on all sorts of issues, and yet we have not touched some of the core issues. And the core issues, I think, can be captured in 3 huge challenges for the next decades. We will need to go from high carbon to low carbon, yeah, where both policy and business technology will play a huge role. Yeah. We will have to go from our linear model of producing and consuming to a circular model, which in essence means using resources in a much more efficient way and keeping them into the cycle. That again will require a different set of policies, but also huge innovation on the side of business. And we will need to protect natural capital, biodiversity in a much more fundamental way. And also there, we have developed quite a bit of policy, and business is seeing opportunities in shifting towards green solutions, nature-based solutions, but we're still scratching the surface there. So all sides will need to understand that although we've made good progress, the real fundamental systemic breakthroughs are really what we have to focus on for the next decades. Yeah, universities play a huge role, of course. It's where we prepare young people, mostly young people, for the challenges of the future. And so universities should, I think, fundamentally embrace these new boundary conditions of the economy and society of the 21st century, which is that we want to create good living within the limits of this planet. And I think they should adapt their curricula in that way. I mean, more systemic understanding, more interdisciplinary problem or challenge-based knowledge building in the curriculum. That sort of issues, I think, will be highly important. And if you look at some of the fundamental sciences, they are still very much in their old pillars and disciplinary silos. Whereas we know that the challenges ahead of us, whether it's the aging of society or climate change or circular economy or migration, are multifaceted. They require different lenses to look at them, and they will require a huge collaboration between people of very different academic and technological backgrounds to bring solutions to society. So I think the fundamental transitions also pertain to the knowledge system. If we want good knowledge in transitions, we probably need transitions in knowledge as well. I worked for 4 years at Wageningen University in the Netherlands, where I think this sort of more systemic understanding, interdisciplinary, globally connected an approach is very deeply rooted in what this university is doing. And that's one of the reasons why I think that although it's a rather small university, they are globally really at the top of their field. It's because they have an approach that is very much adapted to the type of challenges that we are facing. They have a sort of value chain approach. They call themselves the University of the Life Sciences, which goes from an old agricultural school. So it's about agricultural and food system in a context of natural capital and in a context of long-term sustainability. And I think that sort of vision of what they are producing knowledge for connects different parts of the university. I'm quite optimistic because I think compared to 10 years ago, I mean, the essential understanding of these issues has really improved. I think young people understand that the world that they are facing for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 decades has a different set of challenges. Globalization also is connecting young people to create more global understanding of these issues. And I think the policy frames which we are developing in Paris, but also in Europe and in other places, are really pointing in that long-term systemic direction. So I'm in a way probably more optimistic than I was a number of years ago.